Hello, hey, hi everyone. How is everyone doing? Just say a hi in the chat if you can hear me all right, if you can see me, if you can see the screen. Hey Rob, awesome. And also, from where are all of you joining? That would be an interesting thing to know. Hey everyone, just keep posting on chat if you can hear me all right. Currently, okay, awesome. All right. Okay, awesome. Bikash is here, Farish, Balakumar. And also, would love to know from where are you guys joining? Are you based out of India? What city are you based out of? Vellore. Okay, nice. Okay. So Farish, what do you do? Would you mind sharing a quick intro about you in the chat? Delhi, Atlanta, nice. Boston, Chandigarh, Bangalore. Nice, nice. Awesome. So if I just talk about this session, we will keep it pretty interactive. So that's the note I want to get started with this. I don't want to end up giving a long monologue. The best way to learn is, I think, having a lot more discussions and trying to learn from each other as well. What you guys have been building, what you guys are looking up to as part of this session. So that would be like awesome to know, right? Hi Hariharan, hi Bhaskar, hi Sudha. QR codes are interchanged. Okay. Bummer from our end, but thanks for letting us know. Antarctica. I'm not really sure how that is possible. Sweden. All right, awesome. So if I have to just lay out the if I have to just lay out the structure of this webinar, we'll start with a use case that the team has decided, which is I think around resume building, and then we'll walk through some of the agents that we can build, how we can orchestrate these agents. But again, the best way is that you guys also start building it in parallel, because the reason why we have chosen this use case is that we hope that it resonates really well with a maximum number of folks out there. So yeah, that would be the best job if you can open Studio in another window while we are having this session, and you can really build alongside me, so that we really understand the value. And not only the value, it also helps us understand what are all the different pain points. So for me, I think prompting is a pain point. For someone, knowledge based creation can be a pain point, right? So it would be an interesting activity where we get to know about each other's pain points and how do we really cater those, right? So yeah, I think we are 5 minutes in, and I think this should be a good time to get started. Before we get started, I think if you guys have not yet joined our WhatsApp community, a Discord community, it's an open community. People discuss around what they're building. So would be a great place to be at. And we also have a lot of our own team members really active there. So if you need some guidance, if you have some actual use cases that you are having trouble building, so we are happy to help. Right. So let's get straight into things right here. I'll start with is okay. So someone is mentioning that they can't hear anything. Is it with everyone or is it just with that one person? Can you guys confirm if I'm audible? If you guys can hear me all right? Okay, there is probably some sort of lag. I'll just wait for a minute, hoping for things to get stabilized, and then we'll continue. Sweden. Okay, nice. No, we can hear you. Okay, all right. Okay, so there's some lag at my end as well because now I see a lot of messages coming in. That's fine. So I think we should get started. As part of the first 10 minutes, we'll, just simply go through Studio. By the way, you're open to build agents through any uh, platform that you have been used to. Of course, we'll choose Lyzr Studio because on a personal level also, I really think this platform finds the perfect fit between both the developer audience as well as the business users, so that it's in a way that it allows you to build things no code, low code, and also our comprehensive documentation allows you to build things end to end. But as part of the studio, as you can clearly see in the home screen, that you can build single agents, manager agents, workflows, and all of this is what is determined by the use case. Or you can play around with some pre-existing agents. For example, if you work in some of these enterprises and you're looking for some HR agents, you're looking for some marketing agents, so you can just go ahead and try playing around with these agents to get your job done. But if you're in the building path, I think building from scratch is, of course, one thing that the studio enables really well. But we have also emphasized on building some blueprints. So since we have been, building cases deep into the enterprises, we have been going deep into some of the verticalized solutions such as legal compliance or HR. So we really understand what are the specific agents that bring the most value. And if these use cases are solving at some level for some enterprises, it also makes sense to sort of build a blueprint of them, which is like a 70% or an 80% orchestration that we have already done for you. And what you have to do is to just clone it and sort of personalize it based on your idea. For example, this is, I'm hoping this is the HR policy manager agent. So this agent we have already built. It's a manager orchestration with three or four agents, which are some agent is doing a perplexity search, some agent is probably having a conversation with you, and you can clone it. You can add your own nuances, add your own company policies, that this is how we want our policies to be. And it basically makes a lot easier for you to get a production level use case ready. So we'll come back to this later. The first step is to figure out our problem statement. We'll not directly jump into building the solutions. The first thing that we have to always understand is what are we trying to solve, what is the problem statement, what is the use case, and then we think around what is the right orchestration for it. So the current use case that we have chosen for this session is how can you really build a resume builder is one thing, and then how can you really analyze the different job descriptions, and how can you build something really useful that can help you apply on a very regular basis. So if you, like, if for example, if you're a developer in your college days, or if you are someone who is looking out for jobs, we have this tendency to always be sort of on the lookout for the right opportunities. And what really works well, which is pretty much defined, is how can you personalize the way you are reaching out to these folks. So that makes a lot of sense. And with the capabilities that AI agents are enabling uh, us, I think this use case is something that has really that is really easy to build now. And Akash, yes, the thing we are going to build is RAG based agent. So the first step would be to build a knowledge base. So I think it's the right time to get started with it. As we can see, this is the screen where you can start building agents. It gives you options to choose any LLM you want, whether be it some model from OpenAI, be it GPT-5 or some Claude models. And then it might also be a friction to really understand which model is suitable for us. So that is why we have this static guide here, which tells you if you want to prioritize with speed, if you want to prioritize with context length, if you want to do a lot of things, but maybe there are some budget constraints, so we should be going with certain models. So this gives a holistic view of all the models available. So let's start with it. So what we want to build uh, is basically an agent that helps us apply for jobs in a more personalized way. And if we really think about it, we don't want it to be a lot of conversational stuff happening here. We don't really want a lower reasoning model that is just having a lot of conversations, but rather what we want is this agent to really go deep into our resume, and also really go deep into the job description that we are sharing with the agent, right? So it involves a decent level of reasoning power. So like my personal choice here would be GPT-4o, but again the ideal way to go with this is try out multiple models. So what we are essentially building is that you will have different versions of the same screen. So in parallel you can also try out a lot of models in parallel. But let's start with GPT-4o, and then rather than writing the prompt ourselves, let's go with this generate with AI thing we have here, right? So this agent is something that we have built in house for anyone to build agents. And this is also something a high reasoning model that we say. So in parallel we will use this prompt builder, and in parallel we'll also build agents ourselves, right? So it's asking me that what would I like to build. So if we really articulate our problem statement, it would be something like, uh, I need an agent that helps me apply to jobs in a personalized way, right? What all should it do? It should, like, the agent should know about me, and it should perfectly curate a personalized message or a personalized way to apply for jobs based on the job descriptions that I will give it, right? So this is what I think the agent should build for me. And in parallel, let's also try prompting ourselves, because that is also a good skill to have in general, right? So what should be the agent instructions for this agent, right? It should be something like, uh, the agent should match my profile based on the input job description, and curate a personalized message or a personalized way to apply, right? This is what we want. And then we use this improve prompt button, and it will try to curate some sort of structured prompt for us. And if we go back to the prompt builder that we were using, so when I prompted this, the agent is asking me that it's asking me a couple of questions. So what personal sources will you provide so that the agent knows about you? Awesome question. So I would say that uh, I would provide my resume, or I can provide more details if the agent wants to know, right? And the second thing it is asking, that should the agent only draft application or should it also send? So ideally I would want the agent to go on an autonomous mode, uh, try out Gmail or just send the emails. But honestly at this point of time I'm not really sure how good my agent will be. So I would want myself to be in the loop. I would want myself to firstly view the application content that it is creating, and once I approve, only then it should send. So I would say, no, for now, only create the cover letters and messages. Okay. And meanwhile, on when we are building this by ourselves, So it has already generated a set of instructions. We will go with GPT-4o as we discussed, and we create this agent. Now, one thing I would like to touch upon here is, which we generally ignore, is the temperature and the top P side of things, right? Before going into this, I'll just have a look at the chat if everything is okay. All right. So this is something that a lot of us don't really know, but this is a huge factor based on my experience. We have a lot of use cases which do not work well. When I say do not work well, it means that they are not really doing the job as expected. But playing around with the temperature, mostly the temperature rather than top P, it really helps a lot. So, what is the temperature of an LLM? So, as it says that it controls the randomness in the agent's response, higher values make the output more creative but less focused. So, exactly. The meaning of temperature is that if you run the same input with a prompt for 10 times, all the 10 times you will have 10 different responses if the temperature is high. While if the temperature is low, you will have a lot more consistent responsive in each of the 10 inputs that you gave. So that is the role of temperature. If I have to map it with a business use case, I would say, if you are doing something like a content creation or a content writing, then you should go with higher temperatures because you want LLMs to bring in sort of their creativity. But let's say if you are generating a structured response, if you are using the agent to parse something, if you want the agent to rewrite something as it is, and you don't want any sort of input from the agent, that is where the temperature should be like zero point 0.1 or zero point 0.2. So let's discuss what should be the temperature in our case. In our scenario, we want the agent to write personalized messages, but I also want it to completely adhere the job description, I would say. So in my opinion, zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.4 would be the right temperature fit for this agent, right? We'll quickly name it, and yeah, let's release it. And if we go back to the prompt builder agent that we were using, so it says that awesome, I can do this, and it's asking me a few more questions. So what tone and length do you prefer for the outputs? I would say the cover letter should be like 400 words, and yeah, messages should be 100 words, right? And similarly, what target roles should the agent assume by default? So, yeah, I would say product manager for me, but everyone is happy to choose specific domains for themselves. By the way, if you are not building this in parallel, I would suggest you to please go ahead and also build this in parallel, because that is the only better way to sort of learn this, right? Someone is asking that the LLM provider and model dropdowns are not displaying any available options in Studio. Okay, that should not happen. Uh, can someone else also confirm if that's happening? Because LLM providers are displaying these six functions, and corresponding to them, we can see all the available models. Uh, yeah. So, anyways, moving ahead, I think. So it's asking me more questions that, yeah, have you created the knowledge base and uploaded your resume? So yeah, I'll say that I'll create the resume, create the knowledge base, and what tone should be used for writing. I would say uh, professional, no BS tone. I want less words and more value. This is like my style of how I like writing things. So similarly, you can have your own preferences, and accordingly the agent will build. So by the way, what's happening here is that it is asking me questions so that it can write a prompt for me in a much better way, while on the other hand we are writing the prompt for scratch. So you can take any of these two routes. This one is a more agentic way of building things, where basically the agent is doing all the heavy lifting. So yeah, it is asking me to say ready whenever I wanted to, sort of write the prompt. So now it's generating the agent JSON, which is basically a combination of the role, goal, and agent instructions. So we'll just wait for a few seconds for it to write the prompt for me. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and build our knowledge base. Now, why do we even need a knowledge base for this? And to be very honest, resume building as a skill, yeah, definitely you can use your LinkedIn profile as a starting point, you can either just copy paste all the content into the knowledge base, or you can use LinkedIn's API as a custom integration. So LinkedIn is a very tricky API, to be very honest. You can connect with all of these different tools as part of the custom tools if you want your profile data to be scraped. But LinkedIn is one of those very restricted companies which really don't allow us or any of these other organizations to do a lot of actions. So we have to take other routes like scraping or something like that, or maybe use some open source library which we are building in house. But for now, I think uploading the resume or just copy pasting stuff from LinkedIn is the right quick fix to go after. Meanwhile, if we look at the prompt that it has created and we use it, so let's go deep into this prompt. I had a conversation with the agent and it has created a prompt for me which mentions the overview, which mentions what inputs will the agent be getting, how the knowledge base should be used, right? So in the knowledge base, it mentions that I have provided some resume or some LinkedIn content. And then this is super important. The agent itself mentions the chain of thought for the agent, that firstly you just have to parse the job description, then from the knowledge base select two or three accomplishments that directly map to the competencies. So this is so important, right? This is the whole crux of the use case that we are building. And honestly, if you are building it from scratch, something like we just saw, it will take a lot of iterations to reach at this point, to really figure out the right way of writing these personalized messages. It takes a lot of iterations. The first version you built won't be that good, but building it through this prompt generator really enables you to reach that level very quickly. And then it mentions around the tone, style, what output should be there, must do, must not do, what clarifying questions it can ask if the information is not enough. So it has already written a very pretty detailed prompt, I would say, and I think we are ready to just launch it. One thing I missed here is to enable memory, which is I want the agent to also have conversations with me if the job description is not that comprehensive. Or maybe, I can also iterate with it, so that, for example, the first set of messages it wrote, I didn't really like it. So if I want to iterate or constantly improve, memory is an important part because it helps us make things conversational. By the way, why do we even have memory as a separate thing? Why can't LLMs be assumed to be, to have memory? Because if you go to Chat GPT, you don't have to enable something like a memory, right? You can keep having a chat and it will have all the context. It like Chat GPT knows more about us than one of our closest friends or family members, right? So how does Chat GPT has that memory? So when we use Chat GPT or when we use any of these LLMs as an external API, LLMs by nature are stateless in nature. So they would not know anything apart from that one input message. So when we are using it for a specific use case, it's recommended to enable memory to ensure the conversational nature, right? So we have this one thing that we are yet to build is the knowledge base side of things. So let's quickly build the knowledge base. I'll define what a knowledge base is, and before building it, let's understand firstly why do we even need a knowledge base here, right? I was in a spot where we can do this use case without having a knowledge base itself, because our resume content is not that extensive. A knowledge base is a perfect example for, let's say, a customer support executive agent, where the customer support executive has to go through all the company policies, all the organization data to figure out the perfect solution for a query, right? For example, if we are building a customer support agent for a Zomato or a Zepto, right, and someone is asking that what are your refund policies, so we cannot prompt all of that information into the agent instructions. It would be too much. It would lead the agent to hallucinate or etc. And also for that specific use case, all the 100 other instructions are not even relevant. So it's always better to use a knowledge base. Now what's happening with knowledge base is that whenever user has inputted any query, that specific message is also searched within the knowledge base, and some of the most relevant chunks are fetched. right? That if we are talking about a refund processing, what all data do we have around refund in the company policies, so that only that context is sent to the agent. So in this way, we have sort of made our agent a lot more aware about and personalized about our company's data, right? So let's test this out. For example, I want to build a knowledge base for my resume, and all of these things you don't have to worry about. These are different vector stores and embedding models that we have enabled, but you can go ahead with the default ones as well, right? So as we can see, the knowledge base is created successfully. And what we can do is, I mean, a very cool way of having a resume nowadays is building your own website. So a lot of people try that. I would have also built a website someday. Let me search. So the reason we are doing a website is because the agent can also crawl the website. For example, you have built your own startup, let's say someday, and you have a website live for that startup, so you can just add this. It also becomes a part of your resume knowledge base, right? So yeah. For now, we can start with website crawling, or maybe I'll just upload my own resume. And before I do this, I just want to know in the chat how many of you are also doing this in parallel. How many of you have sort of written the prompt, maybe used the generate with AI prompt that we have? Because for me, it has written a pretty comprehensive prompt, and would love to know what all challenges did you guys feel while doing that. And I'll also take some questions. What tool are you using? Are you looking to connect to? So we can connect it with a front end builder such as a Lovable. Like, I am a no coder, so I really like Replit or Lovable. And the good part with Lyzr is that I get the API endpoint here. I just paste it in the chat for a Lovable or a Replit to use, and now my agents are connected with a beautiful UI, and I have an agentic app in total, which I can sort of deploy and use it on a daily basis. I don't always have to come to maybe Studio or come to the screen. I have one link which I use to apply for jobs. It's as simple as that, right? And apart from that, can we use LinkedIn? Okay, yeah, I just answered that. Sure. So if we go back to uploading the knowledge base, I'll quickly search my resume. I am not sure I built it really. Okay, yeah, we have something, and it has suggested me a parser. Again, you don't have to worry about all of this. I'll just quickly upload the resume, and the upload is successful. Now I just mentioned about the query being searched in the knowledge base and how specific relevant chunks are fetched. And this is where we can test also. So for example, if I test that, does Vidur have any experience in Gen AI, it will go through my resume content, and it has fetched some of the most relevant chunks. So it mentions some of the previous enterprises I've been a part of and what all things I did it. So see, I had mentioned in my resume that I've been vibe coding or something. So it is able to bring up that information as part of the retrieved chunks, and only these specific chunks will be now fetched to my agent, right? So the next thing we have to do here is to connect the knowledge base that we created with our agent, right? And you can keep the settings as it is. I think this is an interesting point to also talk about agentic RAG. So as part of the RAG system, or as part of knowledge base, we have RAG, we have graph RAG, and we have agentic RAG. For most of the cases, for most of the enterprise or a personalized level of use cases, you only need RAG, and you don't need to go to agentic or graph RAG. So now, where is agentic RAG really helpful? So agentic RAG, as the name suggests, has sort of an agent inbuilt the RAG system, right? So currently, what's happening is that we are matching through a semantic search, which is like, if I type something around Gen AI as we just did, similar words would be found out from the knowledge base, and they will be fed to my agent. But when we talk about agentic RAG, there is an agent who is trying to understand that what this guy really wants to search. So if I mention Gen AI, it will automatically figure out using an agent that we might want to talk about AI, we might want to talk about LLMs, Gen AI, work done with Gen AI. So all of these nuances it creates, and it searches in a very agentic manner, in a very mindful manner, rather than just looking for similar words, right? And similarly, the third one is the graph rag, which, as the name suggests, it has a graph mapping in place so that the retrieval accuracy is really high. For example, if I am again, if I'm writing Gen AI, it will have a graph mapping which suggests the agent that these are the three right sources to find something around Gen AI, so that the retrieval accuracy increases. But for this use case, I think we are pretty sorted to go with with the basic rag that we have enabled, right? So now let's go to LinkedIn and find some actual job descriptions that we can say. By the way, just to recap, what we have created by now is basically an agent which will write personalized messages, reach out messages for me based on my resume and based on the job description we will feed it. And in parallel, I'm just looking out for, like, I'm not really looking out for jobs, but I'm finding out some job descriptions that we can use this agent to test with. So yeah, okay, I see a couple of them on the on the LinkedIn job portal. So what I'm doing here is that I've copied a job description from LinkedIn. I've just pasted it, and so let's see how it really builds and what does it really build. By the way, the job description is for a company called AirOps, which is a platform for marketeers, and they're also building something in AI. They are hiring for a growth product manager. So already it has written a cover letter for me based on the prompt and based on my resume, which was fed to the knowledge base, right? So what all it has done is, yeah, I'm writing, it is mentioning my previous experiences. It is, yeah, and it exactly. So the point is that it has itself mentioned a 90 days plan that I would come in and join. So either it must be a part of agent instructions. And see, it is really good to have such sections, right? If you're writing a cover letter by default or from yourself, it does not, you might not get all these ideas on what really clicks in. But since we have played around with the temperature, since the agent instructions that we have written are really comprehensive, I genuinely think we really have something that will help us uh, on a daily basis, right? So yeah, it says that I'm thrilled to join. I'm at the prospect of contributing to so and so company, right? So this is something that you can use on a daily basis for multiple job descriptions. This is just one job description I mentioned. If we quickly try it out with a few more, of course it would do a similar job and help us build the agent, right? So just to recap what all we have done, I think we have spent good 30 minutes on this. We have built an agent using an agent which has done all the heavy lifting for us, written a comprehensive prompt. Then we created a knowledge base that contains our resume content, and now we have an agent which we can launch and use on a daily basis. But let's say that this is not really enough. I want a good UI. I want multiple versions of this message, right? If I have to improve this, what should I do? I would say that you should always give me a cover letter, and you should always give me, how do we say, a message, or maybe three different messages, right? So all of this instructions I will add in the prompt. uh, but if we build a UI on something like a Lovable, right, it will be really simple and easy to use on a daily basis, so that you have an application that you can go and try out multiple things, try out with different job descriptions, try out with different frequencies. So let's do this. And the good part about doing all this is that you just need your own agent inference from the agent API section, and Lovable can take that as input, connect it with Lyzr by itself, and you have a full-fledged app going on. By the way, before we start building this on Lovable, one problem statement that we already have here is that, uh, why are we even going to Lovable with the agent API, right? Why can't we build something on a single platform itself? So that is also something I have as part of this session, which we will go to maybe after 10 minutes. And so let's go deep into Lovable now. What do we want to build? We want to basically build a job applying a platform which takes in job descriptions and allows me to, what do we do, and sorry, creates personalized messages and cover letters for me, right? So this is what it is doing. I've just given a very simple prompt. Let's see how it does. Why did it not move ahead? Okay, we'll try again. uh, Builder, builder personalized message generating. Okay, it's pretty slow, so it has taken my previous command now, right? So yeah, so it has built some sort of design. It has suggested me some features, and then it is suggesting me some integration and functionalities. uh, by the way, I can't see what it has built, so I'll prompt it that I can't see any UI you have built. All right, so since it is taking some time, let's also parallelly try it with something that we have been building in house. So we know a problem statement that we have, right? That I need to apply for jobs, and another pain point here is that we are building agents on Lyzr, and then we have to go to any of such relatively slow front end building tools which will build a UI for us. So why not have a single platform which can build everything for us right here, right? So let's try the same thing here. I'll input the same prompt that we did. Uh, a job applying platform which takes in job descriptions and creates personalized messages and cover letters for me. All right. So let's shoot this, right? When we So what is the first step it is doing? It is generating a plan for me, because if we go to the traditional software engineering world, what we do is that we create PRDs for softwares to be built, and architect is building a software for you. So firstly, it is generating the right set of PRDs. What all agents do we need? What is the right user flow for our application, and how the UI UX should look like, right? Parallelly, if we look at Lovable, I think it's still building something, so we'll come back to this. But let's go deep into the PRD of the app that Architect has built for us, right? So yeah, it's still laying out the right set of screens, what we should do. It's mentioning some components, and I think meanwhile Lovable has built something. Okay, so built in some beautiful UI where I have to message. Okay, I have to write my profile, and okay, it is giving me an option to write the job description, and I'm assuming that once I fill all of this and click on this CTA, on the right side of it, it will provide me with some cover letters or connection messages. And also I will ask Lovable to connect to my Lyzr agent using the following agent API endpoint, right? So here we can paste whatever the agent API that we built on Lyzr Studio, and it will integrate the agent in the backend. What it means that whenever we click on the CTA, it will call our agent, it will get the response and showcase on the UI that we did. But again, all of this is pretty painful because you are toggling with two platforms in parallel. But what Architect has done for us is, okay, it has written the agent architecture, it has written the agent flow, that okay, we need an agent which is generating all of this. And if I push to agents now, then let's see. Okay, so it's now it's generating a workflow for us that based on the PRD, the architect believes that okay, we have to build three agents. Oh, sorry, one agent, which is the application generator agent, which analyzes job descriptions and generates personalized cover letters. So I'll allow it some time to sort of build the workflow, and in parallel, let's try connecting our agent API with Lovable. So Lovable has already built this UI, and I have told it to go ahead and use the agent API that I provided and connect with the agent, right? And again, in the parallel, architect has created a workflow where, as part of the input, user has to provide job descriptions and select content type, okay, and the application generator agent would generate the personalized messages. Now it gives me an option to push this to preview. And by the way, it is doing all of this through that one line I gave. There is a lot more context I wanted to give, or I want to give, which I can constantly iterate. But I'm just trying to understand that what all it can do by itself with as less context as it have, right? And in parallel, I think Lovable has, first I need to enable Lovable Cloud to securely store API key. Okay, I mean, I don't have an issue, just keep my keys safe. But yeah, and similarly on Architect, it is creating some UI based on the PRD that we generated. uh, by the way, just to recap, what we have done until now is we built an agent using an agent. We built an agent with this generate AI button, which gave us a pretty comprehensive prompt about how the agent should behave. And then we build the knowledge base, which is critical in this example, where I have uploaded my resume as the knowledge base, and the agent always refers my resume to create a very personalized set of messages for me. And now what we are trying to do is just a hygiene or an upsell towards it, that either we use Lovable or we use a product like Architect to build a front end as well, along with the agent architecture, right? But I'll just take a pause here to see if to see any questions on the chat. While building okay, I see a lot of replies from our own team. How does this manage context and memory across multi-turn conversations? Okay, so mm, exactly. So memory module is doing the heavy lifting here. Uh, that is the way we have architected it. That all the messages are being stored, and that is basically the engineering that we have done. So you just have to enable the memory module, and it ensures that conversational nature. What we are also focusing on is an optional way to manage context across conversations. So you might want, similar to like a chat GPT behavior, right? Chat GPT, like if you start talking to it, it already knows half of your life. So like for example, if that really is needed in some of the use cases, we are building something like a global context which can handle all of this scenarios as well. Do we have any agent for resume writer in Lyzr.ai after getting the input from personalized resume builder agent? I'm not sure if we have a ready to use agent. There might be someone from the community who has posted this as part of the community agents, but I think we can build that as well using the generate with AI. So building a new agent is also not that difficult, as we saw. The PRD thing is pretty cool. Haven't seen something like this. So yeah, I mean, this is something that we have been working upon, and we haven't released it yet because it is still not at the benchmark that we want our products to be. So we're constantly improving, but yeah, I mean, let's just continue building the front ends. So it's asking me for my API keys, while Architect is sort of improving some of the UI elements it built earlier. So yeah, I'll just see, spot my API key and stuff. By the way, I really want to know how many of you are doing this in parallel, because that would be much better. And I think we have 10 minutes, so we can use the next 10 minutes solely as part of the Q&A as well. So please keep the questions coming in. That will be my major focus for the next 10 minutes. And in parallel, we can, of course, continue building the UI as we saw. Yes. So I've taken the agent API. I'll paste it on Lovable, and yeah, let's see. So yeah, do we have any questions? And Gmail as a tool used in the agent instructions. Exactly. Okay, so someone is asking about tools. Yeah, my bad for not going deep into that. So along with the knowledge base, so all of these components are pretty modular in nature. as knowledge base, we created a separate knowledge base and we can connect it with any agents. Similarly, it is with tool integrations. I just have to click on this enable button and I'll select Gmail as a tool, and I'll also select how this agent should use Gmails, right? Maybe send email. So I'll just say connect, and let me write this in the prompt that once created, send the cover letter to the email, and I'll mention my email here, right? And I click on update the agent. So I see we have around two cases where we have created the cover letter. So let's try this. So I would say, yeah, send the last cover letter to my email. And that is what I'm talking about. That is the agentic nature. You don't have to code anything. You don't have to sort of join any nodes as well, right? uh, I'm unable to send. You can copy. Okay. This is because we have emphasized a lot on the final delivery format. And similarly, if I want, let's say, a Slack integration, we can uh, definitely focus on that. But let's deep dive on. You can. Let's see why it failed here. And in parallel, if I see how Lovable has been building, and if I paste a job description here, and if I talk about my background, okay, this is something that it wants me only to fetch. So I'll just copy paste my uh, LinkedIn profile here. Yeah. Okay. So it is calling me, but I think the interesting part here is uh, this thing where automatically an application is created with the agents connected in the background, along with a detailed PRD, which we can always continue to iterate, right? So Ravi is sharing some agent eval. Okay. Can we set up multiple environments and proper versioning to support developing and managing? Absolutely. So whenever we go to any of the agents that we have built, we have a version history here, which basically tells all the previous versions that we have built for. Okay, I'm sharing the wrong tab for the same prompt. So you can sort of restore any previous versions. That is definitely doable. And what is the main difference between RAG and no code agent like Lyzr? So what I would say is that RAG is just one part of Lyzr. Lyzr by default is an agent infrastructure platform which brings in all the necessary relevant modules to build agents as much as you can. So today we have focused all on the single agents connecting with knowledge base and tool calling. But in future, a lot of these use cases turn into managerial orchestrations, into multiple independent agent architecture, which we can obviously discuss as we move ahead with further sessions. But yes, RAG is one part of it. Creating a knowledge base is one independent module inside Lyzr, so that it's easy to connect with any of the agents, right? uh, can we set up? Okay, so I think I have answered most of the questions. And yeah, I think we are pretty much done with it. I would love to know if any of you were able to successfully build these agents, if you find some value building these agents. Happy to know all of that. I was just trying to debug what went wrong in the Gmail tool, but yeah, we can do that later as well. I'll just wait for a few minutes to answer more questions as and when how we want it. By the way, we connected it with something like a Lovable, and it apparently created both the connection messages and the cover letter for us. But this is simple, but we still think that there is a friction going to juggling with multiple platforms. So that is where we are building Architect, which will be released pretty soon. So you have the control of the agentic layer with you. The only problem we like I find personally with Lovable is that I don't know what's happening in the background. I don't really know what agent has been called, and what agent has been called, and what is the response. What's I don't have any control. If I want to add knowledge base to this agent, I can't really do it right here, right? So I mean, yeah, we can. I don't see a lot of further questions on this. Uh, Maybe a couple of more minutes. I'll wait. Uh, Apart from this, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer. But the constraint is we have to buy credits or subscription in Lyzr to do this all complex things. Most of these components are available on the free plan, but I completely understand where you're coming from. There are some components that we had to keep only focused for enterprise, uh, because that is where we are focusing in terms of the use cases, so that it's relevant for them. But I mean, feedback taken. You anyways get 500 credits once you sign up without buying anything, which gives you a head start. And most of the other platforms, I'm not really sure if they have anything for free to really work around and start building agents. But if you want to build agent, create a knowledge base, connect with your Gmail, all of this you can do right away, without paying a penny. So yeah, I mean, that is also something you can explore. Yeah, I think we have. I think I've answered most of the questions, uh, and I think the plan is to do such sessions on a weekly basis. So, would love to get some feedback on this session. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to anyone from Team Lyzr, and we would be happy to know how would you want these sessions to be. Uh, as I previously mentioned, I really like when it's a co-building session where you are also able to sort of do all these things, simulate your own experience on your own terms. That was the idea. I hope you got some value from this session. You were able to build something ideally, and happy to have any feedbacks. Uh, so yeah, I think it was a great time. I had a good 1 hour. I'll just wait for a minute to answer any incoming questions, and then we can conclude the session, right? All right. So awesome. Thanks everyone for joining. Uh, we are all ears in terms of feedbacks. We are all ears to really know what are the pain points in agent building. As a company, we are on this mission to democratize agent building as a skill. uh, no matter which part of your career are you in, if you're starting out, if you are looking for a switch, all of those are pretty much secondary reasons. I think agent building as a skill is a must have, and we are doing everything to make that accessible for everyone. The platform itself has that motive and has that look and feel, that it should not look a very massive, a very techie place for anyone. It should be very welcoming to anyone who wants to do something with agents. Hi Vidur, can you share the prompts, please? Awesome, I can definitely share the prompts. But even the prompt is something I did not write myself. The agent helped me write it. So if you are just having a conversation with that agent, you'll be able to write a prompt yourself. So I don't think so. I have an option to write it on chat, but okay. So, like, I don't have access to this chat. I've shared it in some private chat, so someone from my team might be able to add it. Okay. So, okay, all right. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining. We'll be doing this on a weekly basis. So keep your feedback coming in, and our goal is to just provide as much value as we can in this manner. So thank you so much. One question: what options to install the agents on client's website? Absolutely. So as I mentioned, all the agents come with an API endpoint. You can just copy the API endpoint, and you can call this agent through the front end. And you can also have a look at our docs. So even if you don't want to bring the chat endpoint in place, if you want to stream the output, if you maybe want a file as an output, right, downloading as a PDF or generating some other files, so all of those details are mentioned here. But the whole point is that you can build agents on the studio. You can do whatever you want to do with it, right? So yeah. I think that answered it pretty well. All right. Thanks again. Thanks for joining. We will see you guys next week for sure. Thank you so much. Goodbye.